right, hey, welcome back to George Does Stuff. I'm George. I do stuff. I like to go fishing, but I also like collecting knives, and I like sharing what little, very little knowledge I have about knives with you guys. And I want to give a shout out to all my subscribers. Thank you guys so much. I very much appreciate it. I appreciate your comments, positive or negative. I like hearing what you guys have to say. And I appreciate the interaction. I really do. So I'm trying to grow this site. My ultimate goal is to make about $12 a month off it. So far, it's cost me about $300 a month. So, so fingers crossed. I'm not quitting my job anytime soon. Let's put it that way. But anyhow, I do love knives. I do love sharing it with you guys, and I very much appreciate you guys subscribing and giving me the views and give me the comments. It means the world to me. And I'm an old man. I ain't got much, so I appreciate you guys being there for me. So thanks so much. Today's knife is a knife company that you guys may never have heard of. I haven't seen a lot of reviews on this knife or this knife company in general. So let me start. This is the knife. It is a D2 folder access lock. It's actually it's a very nice looking knife. Look at this little red accent they have around the, look at the red accent they have on the pivot collar. Ooh, that's nice looking. That is fancy. Nice little access lock. Very unique blade shape. I think these guys were definitely looking into the year 3000 with this knife design. It's got some wonky angles on it. It looks kind of weird, but I like it. It's not my favorite looking knife in the world, but it is definitely not my least favorite. But anyway, the company is Flissa. They are a Chinese company. I don't know if they have a U.S. If it's a U.S.-based company that has the Chinese building it for them, but the knife is, as far as I know, 100% manufactured and possibly even designed in China. For me, it is, let me see. I don't think I can, I can't, I guess I can flick it that way. I can't reverse flick this. It's kind of beefy. It's a pretty beefy honking knife. And the irony is that the blade is actually very, very slim. It's got a very, very slim blade stock. But it is D2. This does worry me. I can't lie. I mean, this is a very, very acute angle there with a very thin blade. So I would use this for slicing tests. I would not jam this into anything and wiggle it at all. It will snap. I almost guarantee it. But that being said, let's check out this marking. What could these cryptic words mean? D2. Oh yes, D2. D2, if you're not aware of it, is half of R2's name. R2 is the first part, D2 is the second part. This is not a Disney program. This is not sponsored by Disney. This is not sponsored by Flissa. God knows that's true. But no, D2 steel, all kidding aside, is one of my absolute favorite steels. I should say it's one of my absolute favorite budget steels. There are a lot of steels I like. S30 and S90V probably being my absolute favorite steels. With some others mixed in there. I'm very fond of the M390 20CV element. I really like those. Those are nice steels. Anyway, I digress. So yes, how I found out about Flissa was not actually their folding knives. How I found out about Flissa was their fixed blade knives. When I bought my BPS knife, this was the biggest competitor, and this knife, I bought it because it was $22 with a true leather sheath, G10 handles, and again, in case you missed it, the cryptic wordings right there. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. I know you guys can see it. Ah, yes. D2 steel. But a lot of D2 steel. This knife is really thick. As a matter of fact, if you compare it, let's compare the two. Not much of a comparison. The fixed blade it's really beefy. It's not hyper super monster beefy. It's not like my Work Tough or anything like that. But yeah, it is substantially bigger than this little guy. We'll go back to this. Maybe we'll do a review on the fixed blade sometime in the future. But for right now, this is my stepping stone to getting into the folding knife. Just a quick little note on this. This knife is ridiculously sharp. If you're looking for a super cheap, relatively high-performing fixed blade knife, get this knife. It's like $21 or $22. It's not a bad investment. It feels like it could, fend off the zombies if it ever comes to that. Anyway, again, I have digressed and I apologize. So, as stated earlier, this knife is made D2 steel. I want to say that's G10. It is either G10 or no. I believe that is G10. It absolutely is G10. Looks like we have a T8 pivot, T6 everything else. The clip is not reversible. There is a little lanyard hole if you want to make a lanyard for this for some reason. Full, very thick steel liner locks. These liners are actually probably thicker than the blade itself. I mean, this knife feels very substantial in the hand. And it has an access lock. And it works very, 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 very well. The only thing about this knife, one of its worst qualities, is that everything else about it is so well built that the blade just doesn't inspire confidence. It's very thin. It's very acute in its angle, which means that I could see this knife just breaking off right there with absolute minimum amount of effort. And in which case, maybe make it into a Tonto or something. That might actually look pretty cool. But that being said, as far as an everyday carry knife and doing the tasks that you have for an everyday carry knife, it's going to perform beautifully. I mean, if you want this to open letters, do you want this to cut cardboard, you want this to open Amazon packages, you need this to, cut some strings or cut some rope, light duty stuff. This knife will serve you well. Absolutely. It's got a nice stone washed edge on it. It is slicey as all get out. As we've discussed many, many times, it's a trustworthy steel. You might want to take care of it. The stone washing actually will help. I recommend, and I've mentioned this in other videos, just get some of this Japanese oil. Just keep it on the blade if you're worried about things rusting. If you live in a humid climate, in the Gulf, region of the country or something like that, it'll absolutely, help to slow down any rust that maybe happen with these. But D2's, it's not, it's not just a carbon knife that's going to rust when it gets wet. I mean, it's a semi-stainless steel, so it'll do okay. That being said, it is time to get to the punchline of this. And one of the things I should have mentioned, it's got a fantastic sharpening trail in there. So I mean, this thing, if you can keep the tip from falling off, I mean, you got a lifetime's worth of steel that you can continue to sharpen on this. And which reminds me, this is exactly the type of knife that I would recommend buying if you want to get into like freehand sharpening, and you're afraid to, take out your Paramilitary 2, which is now a almost $200 knife, and you're afraid you're going to ruin that edge. Get this knife. You don't have to worry about it. If you ruin the edge, you can throw it away. And if you're saying, well, George, I'm not a gazillionaire like you are, wink, wink. I have no money. And you're like, this knife is gonna, it's gonna set me back too much that, it's not. This knife right now on Amazon is $15. This is a $15 knife. And let me tell you, if you feel this knife in your hand, it feels like a $100 knife. I'm not saying it performs like a $100 knife, but I will tell you right now, I mean, you can hear that, it scares me. It sounds like the damn thing's gonna break. But that being said, it's got limited side-to-side play, zero up and down play. It has a really positive lockup once it gets open. It's very easy to swing it out. The action on it's actually really good. It's got a nice detent on it. It does not perform in any way, shape, or form like a $15 knife. This knife feels like a much more substantial knife than a $15 knife. And holy crap, if you're looking for a cheap knife to beat around, to throw at a tree, to break, if you want to learn how to freehand sharpen, if you want to learn how to use a fixed edge sharpener, if you want to learn how to use a Spyderco Sharp Maker, and you just want a cheap knife to practice on, get this Flissa, man. Get this Flissa. It's $15. You got that in the cushions of your couch. Pick up your couch, shake it up and down. $15 will fall out. Maybe not. Maybe you're like me, and maybe nothing will come out. But anyway, so let's see whether or not this allows us to keep our Paper Warrior wings. Let's check it out. Yeah, was there ever a doubt? Come on, guys. Really? This knife was designed to cut stuff. This is a factory edge. I may have touched it up once or twice just with a strop and a ceramic edge or a ceramic stone. Nothing too spectacular, but it's a slicey monkey. Yep, there you go. Boom, $15, money well spent. This is the Flissa. I believe the full name is the Flissa Pocket Knife Folding EDC Knife for 3.25 inch D2 blade is the full name on Amazon. I will link it in Amazon. Excuse me, I was gonna ramble off the dimensions, but I'll pop them in here somewhere from the Amazon page so you guys can see it. So I'm not doing anything, God bless Metal Complex for taking out his ruler and his T-squares and his scale and measuring stuff. All these dimensions and weights are all available on Amazon for free, and I'll try to pop it up somewhere. Anyway, so that's my review of the Flissa D2 knife. I guess we're going to do some size comparisons real quick, just so you have an idea. Here it is against the Para 2. It's quite a bit smaller, actually. Here it is against the Ozark Trails, which is actually a little bit smaller than that as well. By the way, this knife is $10. This knife is $15. $10, $15. Axis lock, maybe D2 steel, absolutely D2 steel. FRN, meh, G10. Listen, I'm not saying you shouldn't buy this knife, but this one's in stock and it can get to your house real quick. This one you may have to wait on, and it's still going to look like a Halloween knife, where this looks like a grown-up knife, almost. Kind of. The blade shape's weird, but other than that, it's all right. Anyhow, all these knives are great, but I would want to push people kind of this direction before this direction. That's just me, though. This knife does feel a little bit more substantial. It feels heavier, let's put it that way. So it feels heavier. It still has a great action, but I'm digressing. All right, so Paramilitary 2, Ozark Trail, Flissa. If you saw one of my views on this knife, the X took, love this knife as well. Absolutely adore this knife. I highly recommend this knife. It's a good looking knife. It's not a knife that you're gonna, if you're in your life that you can, Armageddon happens and you need to save yourself, this is not the knife for you. But if you want a knife you can beat up, that you can learn how to sharpen on, that you can, EDC every day, and if it breaks or you lose it, you're not gonna, lose any hair if you want to take it fishing and you forget it. For $15, this is a whole lot of knife for $15. Anyway, I'll have a link to this in the description. That's a review. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys very much. Hopefully there'll be more videos to come. I suspect there will. Eventually I'll have to buy some more knives, but I still got some time. All right. Thank you guys very much, and we'll see you next time.